Today we are looking at the very famous Washington's farewell address. First, let's take a look at the context. The French Revolution had been dominating political discussion in the United States, with the Democratic Republicans led by Thomas Jefferson wanting to have close ties to the French and give aid, if need be, to the French against the British. On the other side is the Hamiltonian Federalists, who are horrified by the French Revolution and want to have closer ties to the British. The Federalists kind of got what they wanted with the signing of the Jay Treaty, which temporarily aligned the U.S. more closely with the British. The United States was also a very young country. It had gone through some turbulent years. The first government under the Articles of Confederation was a failure for a variety of reasons, but the overarching reason was how weak it was. Washington became the first president under the new government, now under the Constitution, and had made some controversial decisions, including going with Hamilton's financial program. Now Washington had felt, after 2 terms as president, it was time to step aside. However, Hamilton's financial program, the Jay Treaty, and deep philosophical differences led to the development of political parties, which concerned Washington greatly. On to the main points of Washington's farewell address. In the address, Washington will warn the United States to stay out of foreign entanglements and alliances, and that the U.S. should remain neutral in foreign conflicts, especially European conflicts, relating that European squabbles do not and should not concern the United States. However, economic ties and trade with foreign countries is a good thing, which makes sense since the United States needs to develop its economy. The other major key point you need to know is that Washington warns the country about political parties, and we should refrain from creating and maintaining them. He thinks political parties will lead to division and sectionalism. Moving on to Washington's intentions with this speech. While Washington is speaking to the country as a whole, he is really intending this message for the immediate and long-term future political leaders of the country. The purpose of his speech is to give foreign policy guidance to the young republic and keep factions from developing and possibly tearing the country apart. Washington's background is that of the planter elite of Virginia, a general and a revered statesman. On to who would agree and disagree with Washington. This will depend on which of the key points we are talking about from his speech. First of all, nobody heeds his warning about political parties. Most people agree with Washington's point about staying out of major conflict with European power. However, there are serious disagreements about which of the 2 major powers of Europe the United States should be closer with. The Federalists want closer ties to the British, while the Democratic Republicans want closer ties to the French. This is one of the core disagreements amongst these groups, and Washington will no longer be able to keep these 2 groups from dividing the country politically. It will lead to a very contentious Adams presidency and election of 1800. And finally, on to the very important legacy of Washington's farewell address. Washington's speech would leave a long foreign policy legacy on the country. People who are wary of getting involved in foreign alliances and conflicts will bring it up for many years. Most notably, it comes up before and after World War I. It comes up before the U.S. gets involved in the war because many felt it was not America's concern. It then comes up again after World War I. President Woodrow Wilson was able to convince the world to create a League of Nations as part of a global peace effort. However, Wilson could not convince his own Congress, and led by the efforts of Congressman Henry Cabot Lodge, the United States never approved of the treaty and never was a part of the League of Nations. It may also be related to the complete turn against Washington's advice during and after World War II, when we organized NATO, a mutual defense agreement between the US, Canada, and many Western European nations. And that does it for the Washington's farewell address. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, click the button, subscribe to the channel for more videos, and share it with your friends.